So my name is Sam DeBord. I have the honor of introducing your officers from your board of directors. You know what a fantastic group we have. And you're going to hear a lot about some of our international opportunities at this event. Your officers from the board wanted to give you a message as well about those opportunities internationally. So we had them record an intro for you.
Welcome, RESO members. I am your chair, Rebecca Jensen. Welcome to Birmingham. We are excited to work with you and our growing international membership to move technology forward this week. Thank you for being RESO members. Bienvenidos, miembros de RESO. Soy su presidenta, Rebecca Jensen. Bienvenido a Birmingham. Estamos entusiasmados de trabajar con usted y nuestra creciente membresía internacional para hacer avanzar la tecnología esta semana. Gracias por ser miembros de RESO.
Welcome, RESO members. I am your vice chair, Michael Wurzer. We participated in an international MLS forum last year in Paris, France. The event was a big success with representatives from 33 countries and 5 continents joining us to move real estate technology forward. Bienvenue à RESO membres. Je suis votre vice-président, Michael Wurzer. Nous avons participé à un forum international MLS l'année dernière à Paris, en France. L'événement a été un grand succès avec des représentants de 33 pays et 5 continents. Qui se sont joints à nous pour faire avancer la technologie immobilière.
Welcome, RESO members. I'm your treasurer, Richard Renton. Based on our success in Paris, we're going to host our second international MLS forum this year in Milan, Italy. The event will be October 8th and 9th. If your company is interested in sponsoring and getting visibility in these new markets, let us know. Benvenuto, RESO membri, sono il vostro tesoriere, Richard Renton. Sulla base del nostro successo a Parigi, quest'anno ospiteremo il nostro secondo forum internazionale MLS a Milano, in Italia. L'evento si svolgerà l'8 e il 9 ottobre. Se la tua azienda è interessata a sponsorizzare e ottenere visibilità in questi nuovi mercati, faccelo sapere.
Welcome, RESO members. I am your secretary, John Bro. We are now represented in dozens of countries, with the most recent event being the African Real Estate Conference and Expo in Ghana. I bet you expect me to speak in a language from Ghana. The joke's on you. They speak English, people, but just for fun, let's emphasize our global reach and try Japanese. 10年かけて皆さんと協力し、リサデータ標準を前進させられることを楽しみにしています。不動産、テクノロジーを関係者全員にとってより良いものにしていきましょう。
Did you know your officers were that fluent in many different languages? They didn't either. I'm sure a lot of you who have been to these events kind of caught the clue early on. Those were not your officers' voices. Those were 5 minutes of training and production for each of the officers. Not only did the AI speak the English portion, it also spoke the other languages that your officers' voices were in. Now, some of you native speakers of those languages probably got a laugh out of that because there was some Google Translate in there. And as our international panels are going to reinforce, it's not perfect yet. But as some of our friends have said at previous presentations, it'll never be worse than that. It'll never be worse than that. That was 20 minutes of work to have that work. It's pretty amazing. So I have the honor of introducing your chair, who is going to talk as well about the big opportunities we have in tech moving forward with RESO. Your chair, Rebecca Jensen.
Good morning, RESO. Both in person and those online, certainly appreciate you all being here. And I love it how the AI always makes me sound way smarter than I am. So sorry you have to put up with the live version. But I did want to tell you about some other conferences that I went to recently. A couple months ago, I had the fortune to go to Las Vegas and attend the CRS conference for the realtors there. And while I was there, I was able to visit the Sphere. Have any of you been to the Sphere? Very few, which is awesome because then I can tell the story. If you ever go to Las Vegas, not only is it amazing from the outside, those are my two sons over there on the outside, which is an amazing experience on its own, but when you go on the inside, you have one of the largest screens in the world that's all curved. And the seats are one of those that are reminiscent of maybe a Disneyland ride, similar to like flying over California, where they shake and the wind comes up and you can smell the ocean as it zooms around the world. So much so that I had to close my eyes because I started getting a little bit motion sick. It was amazing. But as cool as the screen was with the show, I highly encourage you to go early because they let you in about an hour before your showtime. And in the atrium, by the concession stands, they have a series of robots and the world's largest holograms that are spinning in the air above you. You can also go to certain exhibits to where you can stand in this spot and maybe a member of your family is standing over there and you're hearing two different sounds because they have directed sound waves. They also have these robots named Aura in multiple stations throughout the atrium that are fully conversant. So they're based on large language models, but they have the ability to look around, they have expressions, they smile, they tell jokes, and they are very, very good at looking at humans and figuring them out. So my son had the opportunity to interact with one. I was, of course, the proud mom in the back, and he was raising his hand. There were a bunch of people around this robot, Aura, and she was talking to this little girl that was standing next to him. She was probably, 9 or 10 years old. She had a little headband on with little kitty ears on the headband. She was holding a stuffed animal. And this Aura robot was speaking at her level, saying, "Hey, my half-human, my half-hybrid friend that's a kitty, I can tell that you like animals. Tell me, what is the name of your animal that you're holding?" Full conversation. Then another fellow was standing next. He was next. She had recognized the order that people had come up. And she said, "Hello, my human friend in the red shirt. Did you understand that you're only wearing half of your jacket?" Because he only had his jacket on one arm. And he didn't really, and he's like, "Oh, thank you very much for that." He proceeded to have a conversation with her about totally different topics. Another woman started teaching her Spanish. And she said, "Do you speak any other languages?" And she said, "I can learn. And what I want to say is te amo," which in Spanish means I love you. And she said, how am I doing?" So finally, she gets to my son and she said, "You in the white shirt there with the nice smile, I noticed that you have been waiting very patiently for me. And what can I help you with?" So my son asked her, "Where did your voice come from?" And she said, "I have a team of engineers that have been working on my voice. They use large language models, and they have designed my voice to be very friendly and approachable. You think that my voice is friendly and approachable?" And my son said, "Well, it's good enough." At which point, she starts laughing. She goes, "Wah, wah, wah, wah." And she said, "I will report this back to my engineers, that my voice is merely good enough." At which point she said, "You, however, have a very nice vibe and you have a very nice smile, so maybe they should base it on you." So, the amazing experience. And I bring this up not just to show you that we have video, but the robots are here, they're being used. And it's completely engaging, very exciting, and I can't wait until Sam gets one of those, so it'll save me the stage fright of being here in front of you, maybe at another RESO conference. But there are things that are developing right literally before our eyes that are amazing. And one of the nicest things about coming to the RESO conference is getting to know the community. Because I know that we're going through a lot right now with litigation and changes to rules and all of that. But we're also going through a lot of technology changes with artificial intelligence and robots. And if there's any community that is up to the challenge, it's the people that are here and engaged in RESO. We truly have a cross-section of the industry with every single type of technologist, and now it's global. So I commend you for being here, and I look forward to many bright things in the future. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Rebecca. As we've said before, it's a gift to us to have the leadership we have for this organization, and it's amazing the experience they bring to what we do and the products that we build at this organization with you. So, welcome again to Alabama. Have you been to Alabama before? Raise your hand if you haven't been to Alabama before, and keep them up. That's a pretty large percentage already. Keep them up if you haven't been to Birmingham before. It's probably 2/3, maybe almost 3/4 of the crowd. I'm thoroughly impressed. I don't know about you, it's my first time here as well. Now, as you all know, Suzanne, Claire, Meredith, our events team, make these things happen. Beautiful venue. Give them a little pat on the back when you get a chance. Yeah, thank you. Wouldn't be a tech event if I didn't push the wrong button on the clicker, guys. There are 2 buttons on this thing. So I wanted to give you a welcome from someone who is actually a local, since a lot of us are from out of the area. So we had our friend Carl say a few words. You might remember Carl from the Olympics and a few sprints and jumps he did in the past. So he's a hometown boy who wanted to say hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carl Lewis, and welcome to my hometown, Birmingham, Alabama. You know, as an Olympic champion, I was able to win 9 gold medals, but it wasn't that easy. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, teamwork, family, friends, everyone to make sure that I had the success that I had. And I know as a RESO volunteers, you've been working for 20 years making housing information easier and more efficient for consumers all over the world. And it takes that kind of dedication, hard work, and teamwork to win 9 gold medals, just like all of you have that teamwork and hard dedication in order to make sure you have the success you have. And I want to make sure you keep driving the data dictionary better and make the web API the way the world moves real estate data. So you know what? Have a great week, because it's going to be a great week. You're around all people that are successful, doing the things you want to do, and make sure you go out and get your 9 Nobel medals just like I did, Carl Lewis. Congratulations and have a wonderful week.
So, as staff, when we got together to talk about this event, what we were going to talk about this week, it actually became pretty straightforward, that we don't need to oversell. It's pretty straightforward when you look at the numbers. We have the measurements. What you're doing is working. The products we're building are working in the marketplace, and that's really all we have to refer to right now. 93% of MLSs in the US are certified on our 2 flagship products, Web API and Data Dictionary. Those are working in the marketplace. You know the 90-10 rule. 10% of organizations have close to 90% of the listings out there. That's nationwide coverage. It's working. Downstream from those MLS Web API services, the data feeds to brokers and to their vendors are being converted by MLS organizations. In the past 3 years, we've gone from low single digits to about half of the industry's data feeds being converted to standardized data feeds. We've got about 2/3 committed by MLS organizations who have converted some of those feeds and have a plan and a timeline to convert the rest of those feeds to standardized data feeds. That's working in the marketplace. Let's bring it down to one company, one single organization, working with a lot of the players in our space, building an MLS public-facing website, something that used to take weeks or even months to get together. When they got a standardized data set from an MLS and used their tools built to accept standardized data, they built it in 1 day. When they wanted to input MLS data sets into a broker tool for their customers, because they had a standardized data set and tools built to accept standardized data, they did it in 9 minutes. Both those MLS organizations involved in that are here and are on our board of directors. That's the essence of RESO. That right there, as simple as it looks, that's why this organization was created. That's why you came up with this idea 20 years ago. It's why we were incorporated as an independent organization a decade ago. because of that. If your organization is doing great work with RESO standards, we'd love to highlight you too. This is evidence that what you've done for all these years is creating the efficiencies this organization was created to make for the industry. And why can we do that? Why do those products work? Because we have a board with the vision and strategy to be focused on those outcomes in the marketplace. An unbelievable group. Our board of directors, if you're here, would you please stand for a round of applause? Thank you all. And then how do we build these products? Well, you do, in the work groups. You're the subject matter experts. You build these products with us. And of course, managing those products toward things that create those outcomes in the marketplace are our work group chairs and our work group vice chairs. If you're in the room, would you please stand? Work group chairs and vice chairs. Thank you. And two of you have to remain standing. Kevin Tranby, Rob Larson. What? You remember a couple of years ago when we made the big transition with Web API to Web API Core 2.0.0. That was a big transition to make sure that product worked in the marketplace, and we honored our transport leaders at that time and our certification leaders. Well, the big transition we're doing now is the Data Dictionary 2.0. It's the biggest benefit we've ever created for this industry as an organization. And our chair and our vice chair of Data Dictionary are the people who led that through design, through hard work, through patience. So I want to give another big hand to our Data Dictionary doctors, Kevin Tranby and Rob Larson. Thank you. So, we've been telling you that new certification changes were coming, that this would become not just a residential MLS-focused certification system, but that it would spread. Well, it's here. It's definitely here already. If you look at the companies being certified now, it's much different than it was in the past. We have 4 companies who passed all the testing for Data Dictionary 2.0. The spec you built works, the testing tools work, the reporting works. You're gonna see these come out on our reporting site with RESO Analytics. MLS Grid, Source RE, Pikes Peak with a homegrown solution, and Centris from Canada have all been through the testing process and passed all those tests. Big, big accomplishment for these organizations. And we go past traditional MLSs, Ad-Edit, which you've heard a lot about. We have Rebney in New York with Perchwell, who've been certified on Ad-Edit. MLS listings in the Bay Area, Source RE, and Realtina have all been certified on Ad-Edit now. We move out from the MLS space to broker and vendor aggregator type tools, RESO Common Format, Agent Book, an AMS system, MPAC, a government assessment corporation, and Planetar, a digital tour company. These are not traditional RESO certification recipients. As a matter of fact, they're all Canadian organizations. But it shows you the breadth of what we do and the value of that across borders and across different stakeholders in the industry. We have 2 draft validation sets. These are organizations that have been manually validated and will eventually be automatically validated, but we've verified that they're complying with the standard, with entity, event, and webhooks, the push model we've talked about. Constellation One and Rental Beast have been validated there. Validation expressions are the business rules for Ad-Edit. List price needs to be greater than 0, can't have letters in it. MLS listings and Zenlist have been validated on that standard. What we said was coming with certifications for all these different stakeholders is here, and it's a huge opportunity for this organization to provide that tangible value to organizations through certification going forward. If you want to see these reports, as these organizations get their certification reports and accept those for publishing, you'll see them at certification.reso.org. Alignment reports, you've been hearing about these. They're live in a testing environment. We're working directly with MLSs. Look at these reports now. This is just an example. The MLSs and the vendors are blacked out, but these are 3 MLSs who work with the same vendor. The data sets are different. That's because their markets are different. The fields they implement were different. The way their agents and brokers use those fields, even if they have the same fields, are different in each market. This is your ability to objectively have that conversation with your data partners and your vendors for data shares, common integrations, is to use these alignment reports and have those discussions. If you want to talk to somebody who's been through that process already, talk to Matt Fowler and the Triangle MLS team while you're here, who we just worked through these reports with last week. And of course, the in-depth reports, not just the visual diagrams to give you a big picture at the management level of where you overlap, but the detailed items that your engineers and devs are going to need to do your data shares with those data partners. Working with Real Estate Data Course, more than 1,000 people have signed up for the course now. We have 20 companies who've had more than 20 employees take the course as standard onboarding. Speaking of 20, we have more than 20 countries now where we have RESO member organizations. This is inbound traffic now because they see that it's working and they come to us and say, we want to be a part of RESO because we know it's working in the marketplace. And that's why we had an international forum last year. CEPI, the European Association of Real Estate Professions, had an annual event in Paris, and we came to the end of the event and held an international MLS forum with them. They represent 24 countries. There were reps from 33 countries and 5 continents at that event, which is why we're going to the end of their annual event in Milan this year to have another international MLS forum. There will be more organizations. We have more stakeholders who are already signing up to be a part of this event because they see the value. And you might ask why, with everything we have going on here in North America, would we spend a lot of time focusing on global? The answer is actually fairly simple. It's in RESO's purpose. It's in our incorporation as an organization. We were created not with borders, not to just serve residential MLSs and brokers, but to serve every stakeholder in real estate transactions. So that includes, when we go to international events in particular, appraisers, assessors, government organizations, banks and investors, who all have a stake in quality real estate data, who all have a stake in this working right for their organizations, their countries, their communities. You may have heard of an old Chinese proverb that says, may you live in interesting times. And it's not supposed to be a positive statement. It's supposed to be more of a threat. Interesting having a lot of variance to it. Well, as it turns out, it's not really an old Chinese proverb. There's no record of it. People on stages like to say it. But you may have also not heard of a very similar old Chinese saying that is a real one. Better to be a dog in times of tranquility than a human in times of chaos. You might feel that a little bit. It's not a question whether you live in interesting times right now. We live in very interesting times right now. And I don't know how you're feeling about it. Maybe a little bit of frustration, maybe a little bit of anger, fear, maybe just exhaustion for everything that's going on and changing in the industry. And that's reasonable. You wish we could just pause it for a year, all of the changes, all of the uncertainty, so we could just get back to working with our customers, that we could just make it freeze for a month so we could reset on our priorities for serving our customers, that we could go 1 week without another headline about a bureaucrat or an attorney who read a copy of Freakonomics, scraped some listings from a public website, and decided it was their turn to run an experiment on the housing market. But we don't get that choice. We don't get that choice. We get one choice. We get the choice to embrace the change, whether we like it or not, and to lead with vision and value through that uncertainty, or to be a victim of it. The only choice most of us get. And that's why we're so proud to see you here, because you're making that choice by being here. When you come to our events, you bring your intellect, your experience, your expertise, you spend your time and resources being here in uncertain times, you're making that choice to be the leaders. And we applaud you as RESO for taking this leadership position and being here. Thank you. So let's talk about our week. Our staff is here to support you. Anything you need, let us know. We're here so you can be educated, be engaged, be informed, bring value home to your companies, but also to have a good time, because we do a lot of hard work here. We have a good time at RESO events. Please reach out if you need anything. Our logistics are a little different this week. You asked us to do pain points early in the week so that you could talk about those issues throughout the week. So pain points is this afternoon. We're gonna have a quick transport update today, and then the longer transport sessions at the end of the week. Tomorrow, you'll see we have data dictionary. You also asked us to have a non-technical business session for MLS administrators and execs, for broker execs, After lunch tomorrow, we'll do RESO business issues, non-technical. We'll slow down all the topics we talked about today, go through the Q&A. And we have Web API office hours on Thursday with your vendors, Thursday morning. Most of your vendors are here throughout the week for you to talk to. These are your RESO member organizations who provide Web API services. Make sure you take the time to meet with them, take notes, bring it back to your company. We want your companies to know the value you got of being here at RESO. We're excited for the week. We're excited to start our content with you. Thank you again for taking a leadership position with RESO. We're going to start off with international opportunities. We want to bring up our first panel. Come on up.